All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're tackling a huge topic, data mining, and we're going to explore how we can find those little nuggets of gold in what feels like a massive flood of data.
You know, the source material we're looking at today just nails up with this quote. We are living in the data age. And that's a really key distinction, right? Not the information age, the data age.
And that is the real problem, isn't it? I mean, we are just drowning in data. We're talking terabytes, petabytes. It's coming at us from everywhere. Businesses, our social media feeds, even science. So the big question is, how on earth do you find the valuable stuff, the hidden gems, in all that noise? Well, that's where this whole idea of mining for gold nuggets comes in. It's a perfect analogy for the solution. So what is data mining really?
Okay, so let's break it down. At its heart, data mining is all about hunting for interesting patterns in knowledge that's buried deep inside these huge data sets. It's basically a process, a systematic way to sift through all that digital raw material to find something useful.
And that analogy is just perfect. Although, it's funny. The term data mining is technically a little bit off. A more accurate name would probably be something like knowledge mining from data. But let's be honest, data mining just sounds cooler and it perfectly gets the point across. We're looking for those few precious nuggets of knowledge inside a giant mountain of raw data. Okay, so that sounds great, but how does it actually work? I mean, it's not magic, right? Nope. It's a structured process, a real method that takes us all the way from raw, messy data to actual, valuable insight. So this whole journey from data to knowledge, it follows a pretty clear path. First up is preparation. I mean, you can't find gold if your worksite is a total mess, right? So you've got to clean, integrate, and select your data. Next, you actually do the mining, using all these clever methods to pull out potential patterns. But here's the thing. Not everything that glitters is gold. So the third step is to evaluate what you found. You have to figure out which patterns are actually interesting and useful. And finally, you present it. You visualize that knowledge so that other people can actually see it, understand it, and, do something with it.
All right, so let's open up the data miner's toolkit. What kinds of things can these methods actually do? Well, as it turns out, they're built to answer some surprisingly practical, everyday questions that you might even ask yourself.
Like, here's a classic one from the world of retail. What stuff do people frequently buy together? This is where a technique called association analysis comes into play. It's all about finding these little rules hidden in the data. So, for example, a rule might say that if a customer buys a computer, there's a 50% chance, that's what we call confidence, that they're also going to grab a webcam. Then there's another number called support. That just tells you how often this whole combo happens. So if the support is 1%, it means the computer and webcam pair shows up in about 1 out of every 100 sales. It's all about spotting those connections that aren't obvious at first glance. Okay, let's tackle another common problem. What if you've got a ton of data and you just want to organize it into groups that actually make sense? Well, you've got two main tools for that. First, there's classification. This is what's called supervised learning. The best way to think about it is like sorting mail into boxes that are already labeled. You know the categories ahead of time, like spam and not spam, and you're just teaching the computer how to sort new emails into the right box. Then you have clustering. This is the opposite. It's unsupervised. In this case, there are no labels. You just give the machine a pile of data, and it finds the natural groupings all by itself. It's like discovering you have 3 distinct types of customers that you never even knew existed. But what about the weirdos? The things that just don't fit in with any of the groups? What do you do with the data that doesn't follow the pattern? This is where outlier analysis is so cool. It's based on that old saying, one person's garbage could be another's treasure. See, an outlier, that one weird data point, isn't just noise you should ignore. Sometimes it's the most important thing in the whole data set. It's like a big flashing alarm bell. And this is absolutely critical for something like fraud detection. That one bizarre credit card transaction, that's the treasure you're looking for. Okay, so this all sounds really powerful in theory, but where do you actually see this stuff? Let's take a look at data mining in the real world. The short answer? It's pretty much everywhere. Seriously. Businesses use it constantly for market intelligence, trying to figure out what you and I actually want to buy. Every single time you type something into a search engine, data mining is kicking in to understand what you're asking for. Social media? Oh, yeah, they're using it to find the next big trend before it even happens. And it's not just about business, it's even saving lives. Remember Google flu trends? That was a classic example, using search data to spot flu outbreaks way faster than the old school methods could. So let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. Because with all this incredible power comes a whole lot of responsibility. And this is really the heart of the debate, right? The trade-offs. On the one side, you have these massive benefits. I mean, we're talking about speeding up scientific discovery, protecting ourselves from things like cyber attacks. Huge upsides. But the other side of that coin is just as real. The risks are enormous. We're talking about the potential for our data to be misused, for confidential information to get out, and of course, the big one, the erosion of our own personal privacy. And so all of this leaves us with a really critical question, one that we all need to think about. As these data mining tools get more and more powerful and become more and more a part of our daily lives, how do we make sure they're being used for good? How do we use them responsibly to actually benefit society? That's really the central challenge for all of us as we try to figure out how to live in this data age.